So my question to you is, oh, thank you. Thank you. My question to you is, how are you going to create a worldwide rave? How are you going to get people talking about your ideas and sharing your stories? Thanks very much for your attention. Thanks. So I can take a couple questions if anyone has some, or if you want to go grab some more liquor, that's also cool. Yes?
Having been someone that's been doing this for a long time.
You have been there early too, yes.
Right. There are some things that started really cool, right? And then everybody glommed on. And, you know, like any fad or trend.
Yeah.
Right? Some styles of marketing will change. Where you're going with worldwide rave is totally apropos right now. But do you see this being another concept that fades as something else? Or do you see this as the heart of?
I think the problem is that whenever a new media comes along, people want to apply their old values to the new media. It was way before our time, but when television first came around, I don't know if you've ever seen really early clips of television. It was radio with someone standing there reading, you know, and the advertisements were the same thing. And it took a while, a decade, before people realized the power of television. I think we're in the same era. We are witnessing a revolution. I mean, that sounds cliche, but I think that's true. And I think that where the things that you describe, where people glom onto it, I think that's people who have training and a background and experience in another part of marketing or advertising or PR or whatever, trying to make some aspect of the web or social media fit their needs. So I think that that a lot of people who jumped into blogging weren't bloggers. They were people trying to use it as a propaganda tool. Same thing's now happening with Twitter. Same thing's happening in many cases with YouTube. So my whole thing's about, what this book that you guys have is about, and the new book is about, is to be thinking about these ideas as different. It's a new media. And to be successful, you have to think differently and often counterintuitively from the way that you've been taught or the way that makes sense. I mean, everyone's been taught that you have to control the message. No, that's wrong when you're talking about this kind of marketing. Everyone's told, the MBA students in the room, everyone's told when they go to school for this stuff, you have to talk about your product. But that is precisely the wrong thing to do if you want people to spread your ideas and tell your stories. You need to completely ignore that. So I think that viral marketing, or as I call it, a worldwide rave, is one of the most powerful and amazing things that there is on the web. And many people have tried to harness that. It's really difficult. I've tried to come up with some ideas for how you can increase your chances of success. That doesn't mean you will be successful. You guys can look 2 weeks from now and see how many views I had of this YouTube video. If it's 5, you know I screwed it up, it didn't work. But you can increase your chances of success if you follow those 6 rules. And there's a lot, yeah, sure, there's a lot of sort of fads, but I think that generally is when people try to apply their own rules to some aspect of social media. Bo?
I really like the lose control aspect. How do you get, in my case, my clients, how do you get them to lose control? To just give up?
It's a really tough thing. Part of it is how you measure success. I've noticed that a lot of people measure success using methodologies that we used offline. How many leads you got? The hell does that mean? How many leads you got, or how many press clips you got. You know, how many mainstream media outlets wrote about you or broadcast about you. But I think if you apply a new form of measurement to this stuff, that it can help you at least to start to be thinking, to get the clients to be thinking differently. How many people have viewed the YouTube video? How many people have downloaded the ebook? And then ultimately, like all the examples, every single one of the examples I showed, it leads to sales. You know, with Dr. Smith, she's like going crazy with her practice by doing an ebook. And Lisa Genova starts a blog and hits the New York Times bestseller list. You know, there's the examples I show, ultimately, you can show a sales result for it. That's harder to sell because you're selling initially a little bit of smoke and mirrors. But you can say to people, look, we're not going to measure how many people are downloading the stuff, because we're not even going to ask them to give an email to download the stuff. We're going to make it totally free. It does require different thinking. The other thing I think you can do with your clients and the executive teams, and I know a lot of people have used this because I mentioned this in a lot of my speeches, is ask them a series of questions I asked when you guys came in. You know, have you used have you answered a direct mail ad? Have you gone to the Yelp pages? Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you used Google? Have you tapped your network and gotten referrals, and then you went to a website? Doesn't matter the audience, they're going to answer the questions the same way. I'll do one more. You only have one hand. Why didn't you use the other one? Oh, there you go. Okay, very good.
Well, I kind of wanted to add to that, just a thought on that. I actually have a marketing agency, so we deal with people who just have products. And something you can do with products is something you kind of spoke about, is the blogs, and reaching out to the blogs and just sharing your product with people who are already talking about a similar product is a great thing to do. The question I have for you, obviously we're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all those great things. Do you have any sites, companies, brands that you're seeing as kind of the next evolution, the next big thing in social media? What's your favorite little guy?
I think that there are, last time I checked, there was something like 3,000 social media networks. I don't know, do you guys know? You might know.
Something like that.
There's like thousands of different social media sites out there. You can't be on all of them. And being on the coolest one or the hippest one or the newest one isn't the right thing. The right thing is, and by the way, I'm going to answer your question again in a different way. The right thing is to focus on the people you're trying to reach and what networks are they in. You know, with generally sort of business-oriented audiences, LinkedIn is a good place to be for many people. I personally hate LinkedIn, but that's a different story. It has nothing to do with answering the question properly. But you need to think about where are the people that you want to reach. Are they on Twitter? Well, then you should be. If they're not, then it doesn't matter. And you can't be everywhere. You know, I think of it as like a cocktail party, right? And I'm not feeling so well, so I was sitting down here at the beginning of this event. And I'm going to go home and crash, I'm into my hotel room, crash in just a second. But if I had been feeling better, I would have done the cocktail party thing, right? You know you can't speak to everyone in the room in a party this big. But you kind of figure out, okay, I'm going to go spend good 5 or 10 minutes with this person or this group. And I'll come over and do the same thing over here and the same thing over here, which is a sort of a more effective strategy than trying to be everywhere and spending 10 seconds with each and doing the social butterfly thing. It's the same thing I think is true with social media. And instead of focusing on the products, focus on the problems that the product solves. And that'll be a really good way to get going. Because no one cares about the products, but they do care about solving the problem that your product solves. And that's a good way to be thinking about it. Okay, thanks everyone very much for your attention.
So I don't know if you feel like I do, but I really feel like we are on the ground floor of something really special. And I think it's special because of all of you. I think it's special because this is going to be really what we make it. And this is just the beginning. I've heard it said by the people, you know, if you get it, you got to share it. And this group is not about quantity. You know, we're really about quality people and building relationships. I think, you know, David said it just another way, is that social media is really a waste of time unless it translates into something meaningful, unless it translates into real relationships, whether they're virtual relationships or relationships that we're making tonight. And that's the point. It's not interruptive marketing, it's engaging people, it's creating relationships and building what you want to build. So thanks so much for coming out. Spend some time with each other, hang out for a while, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.